The Iron Ring station floated in the darkness between stars. It was a massive structure made of metal and lights, home to the most feared mercenary company in known space. Inside the command center, Commander Day-Wan stood with his arms crossed, watching the stars through the large window. He was a Vrexian, tall and covered in dark scales that reflected the dim light. His yellow eyes never missed a detail. He had led the Crimson Fang mercenary company for 15 years, and they had never failed a mission. The door opened with a soft sound. A figure in expensive robes walked into the room. It was Ambassador Kelva from the Galactic Council. She had blue skin and 4 arms, each one holding a datapad. Her silver eyes looked tired and worried. "Commander Day-Wan," she said with a bow. "Thank you for seeing me on such short notice." Day-Wan turned to face her. "The Galactic Council does not usually come to us directly. This must be important." Kelva nodded and tapped one of her datapads. A hologram appeared in the air between them. It showed a green and blue planet with white clouds. "This is Kepler 442b. 3 months ago, a group of colonists settled there without permission. The planet is protected by council law. We need them removed." Day-Wan studied the hologram. "How many colonists?" "About 300. Mostly families. They have basic weapons and simple defenses." Kelva swiped her hand and the hologram changed to show another number. "We are prepared to pay you 50 million credits." The number hung in the air like a bright star. 50 million credits. That was enough money to retire his entire crew. Every single one of them could live in comfort for the rest of their lives. Day-Wan felt his heart beat faster, but he kept his face calm. A good commander never showed excitement during negotiations. "That is a generous offer," he said carefully. "Tell me more about these colonists. Where did they come from?" Kelva looked at another datapad. "They are humans, from a planet called Earth in the Sol system." Day-Wan felt something cold touch his spine. Humans. He had heard that word before, but he could not remember where. "Give me 1 day to consider your offer," he said. "I need to discuss this with my team." "Of course." Kelva smiled and handed him a small device. "All the information is here. I will wait for your answer." She bowed again and left the room. When the door closed, Day-Wan immediately called his second-in-command. "Jinho, gather the senior crew. Meeting room now." 10 minutes later, 4 people sat around the metal table. Jinho was a Kralathi, shorter than Day-Wan but twice as wide, with thick gray skin and small black eyes. He was the weapons specialist, and he knew every gun, blade, and explosive device in the galaxy. Next to him sat Hee-Jin, their tactical genius. She was Talaxian, with green skin and large eyes that could see in almost complete darkness. Her mind could calculate battle plans faster than most computers. Across from them was Tae-Yang, their tech expert. He was Zorvathi, thin and tall with 6 fingers on each hand. Those fingers could hack any system, break any code, and repair any machine. He was already typing on his portable computer before Day-Wan even started talking. "We have been offered a contract," Day-Wan began. He activated the hologram projector in the center of the table. The image of Kepler 442b appeared. 300 colonists on a protected world. The council wants them removed. "They are offering 50 million credits," Jinho whistled. 50 million? For 300 people? That is almost too easy. "That is what concerns me," Day-Wan said. "The council has its own military. Why come to us? Why offer so much money?" Hee-Jin leaned forward. "What species are these colonists?" "Humans. From Earth." The room became very quiet. Tae-Yang stopped typing. Jinho's small eyes grew even smaller. Hee-Jin sat back in her chair slowly. "I need information," Day-Wan said. "Everything we can find about humans and their homeworld." Tae-Yang, start searching. Tae-Yang's fingers moved across his computer like water. "Accessing the galactic archives now. Earth, Sol system, 3rd planet from their star." He paused. His face changed color, becoming paler. "Commander, you need to see this." A new hologram appeared. It showed a planet classification chart. At the very top, in red letters, were the words, "Deathworld Class 12. What does that mean?" Jinho asked. Hee-Jin answered, her voice quiet. "The classification system goes from Class 1 to Class 12. Class 1 is a gentle world with few dangers. Class 12 is the highest rating. It means the planet is so dangerous that almost nothing should be able to live there." Tae-Yang pulled up more information. Earth has extreme temperature changes. The weather includes hurricanes, tornadoes, and something called blizzards. The planet has active volcanoes and earthquakes. The oceans have massive storms that can destroy ships. Keep going, Day One said, though part of him did not want to hear more. The planet has thousands of species that can kill a human. Venomous insects, predatory mammals, toxic plants, bacteria and viruses that cause deadly diseases. Humans are not even the strongest species on their own planet, but they became the dominant species anyway. Jinho stood up and walked to the window. How is that possible? How did they survive? Taeyang scrolled through more data. Intelligence, tool use, but also physical advantages. Humans can run for extremely long distances. They have something called endurance hunting. They chase prey until the animal dies from exhaustion. It can take days. Days? Heejin repeated. They can run for days without stopping? According to this, yes. They also have excellent vision. Binocular predator vision that can track movement and judge distance perfectly, and they can throw objects with deadly accuracy. A human can kill prey from a distance with just a rock. Daewon felt the cold feeling spread through his whole body. What about their military? Do we have any combat records? Tojiang typed faster. There was a brief conflict with the Krathos Empire about 30 years ago. The Krathos tried to claim a human mining colony. The war lasted 6 months, he paused. The humans won. The Krathos are serious warriors, Jinho said. How did humans defeat them? The Krathos expected a traditional war. Battles in space, controlled ground fighting. But humans do not fight that way. They used ambush tactics. They hid and waited. They attacked at night when the Krathos needed rest. Human soldiers fought for days without sleeping. They took injuries that should have killed them and kept fighting. The Krathos called them demons. The room was silent for a long time. Finally, Heejin spoke. Commander, we need to call an emergency meeting with the full crew. Everyone needs to hear this, Daewon nodded slowly. Yes, send the message. Everyone to the main hall in 1 hour. He looked at the hologram of Earth spinning slowly in the air. The beautiful blue and green planet that was rated as one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy. A place where only the strongest, smartest, and most determined creatures could survive. And now the Galactic Council wanted him to fight the species that had conquered that nightmare world. For the first time in 15 years, Commander Daewon felt real fear. The main hall of the Iron Ring was filled with mercenaries. 200 warriors from dozens of different species sat in rows talking quietly among themselves. They were the best fighters money could hire. They had fought pirates, corporate armies, and rebel forces. They feared nothing. But today they would learn about fear. Commander Daewon walked to the front of the room. The talking stopped immediately. Behind him, a massive screen showed the hologram of Earth. The beautiful blue planet rotated slowly, looking peaceful and calm. It was hard to believe this world was dangerous. We have been offered a contract, Daewon began. His voice was strong and clear. 50 million credits to remove 300 colonists from a protected world. At first, this seemed like easy money. But after research, I have discovered something important. These colonists are human, and humans come from this planet. He paused and let the image sink in. This planet is classified as a Class 12 death world, the highest possible rating. Today we are going to learn exactly what that means. Taeyang stepped forward and took control of the screen. Let me start with the environment, he said. His 6 fingers moved quickly, bringing up charts and images. Earth rotates on a tilted axis. This creates something called seasons. During summer, parts of the planet can reach temperatures hot enough to kill most species through heat alone. During winter, other parts become so cold that water turns solid. Humans survive in both extremes. The weather is extremely violent. Hurricanes are storms with winds that can destroy buildings. Tornadoes can lift vehicles into the air. Lightning strikes the ground millions of times every day. And in some regions, frozen water falls from the sky in such large amounts that it can bury entire structures. A mercenary in the 3rd row raised his hand. But surely humans hide from these things. They must live in protected areas. Taeyang shook his head. Humans live everywhere on their planet. In the hottest deserts, on the highest mountains, in frozen wastelands, even on small islands surrounded by violent oceans. They adapt. Heejin stood up next. Now let me tell you about human biology, she said. The screen changed to show a diagram of a human body. Humans are persistence hunters. This is rare in the galaxy. Most predators use speed or strength to catch prey quickly. Humans do something different. They chase their prey for hours or even days until the animal is too tired to run anymore. Then they kill it. Humans have a cooling system that is extremely efficient. They sweat, releasing water through their skin, which keeps their body temperature stable even during long chases. Most animals cannot do this. They overheat and must stop to rest. But humans keep going. Their eyesight is also remarkable. Humans have forward-facing eyes like most predators. They can judge distance perfectly and track fast-moving objects. And they have something very special. They can throw things with incredible accuracy. A trained human can hit a small target from 50 meters away with just a rock or a spear. Jin-Ho stepped forward now. His voice was rough and serious. I want to tell you all a story. 5 years ago, I was working on a mining station near the Outer Rim. We had a human mercenary on our crew. His name was Han Sol. He was quiet and friendly. He smiled a lot. He seemed harmless. One day we were in a bar and Han Sol was drinking with us. Someone asked him about the scars on his arms, long deep scars that looked like claw marks. Han Sol laughed and said they were from a bear. We asked what a bear was. He showed us a picture on his datapad. It was a massive creature covered in fur with claws as long as my fingers and teeth like knives. It weighed at least 300 kilograms. We asked if he had fought one with a gun. He said no. He had only a knife. The hall was completely silent now. Every eye was fixed on Jin-Ho. Han Sol told us he was hiking in the mountains on Earth when the bear attacked him. It charged at him and he could not run away fast enough. So he fought it, with just a knife. The bear clawed him, bit him, and threw him against rocks. He should have died. But he kept fighting. He stabbed the bear until it ran away. Then he walked 15 kilometers back to his camp, bleeding the entire way. He survived. When we asked why he did not seem scared of the bear, he laughed again. He said that bears were not even the most dangerous thing on Earth. He said humans had to worry about tiny insects that carried diseases, plants that could poison you by touch, and creatures in the ocean that could kill you in seconds. He said Earth was full of things trying to kill humans, and humans just learned to be more dangerous than all of them. Daiwan took control again. Now let me show you something else. Taeyang, bring up the Krathos war footage. The screen changed to show combat footage. It was grainy and dark, recorded by Krathos helmet cameras. The Krathos were attacking a human mining colony. At first, everything seemed normal. The Krathos soldiers moved in formation, using their superior weapons and armor. Then the ambushes started. Humans appeared from nowhere, attacking from hidden positions. They used the terrain perfectly, turning the colony into a maze of death. The Krathos footage showed humans fighting with weapons, yes, but also with their bare hands. One clip showed a human soldier with a broken arm still fighting, using rocks and metal pipes as weapons. This battle lasted 3 days, Daewon explained. 3 days without rest. The Krathos soldiers needed to sleep. The humans took shifts, always keeping some fighters awake. When the Krathos tried to rest, humans attacked, over and over. Another clip showed a human soldier taking a plasma blast to the chest. The armor was burned through. The soldier fell. Everyone thought he was dead. But 30 seconds later, the human stood up again, grabbed his weapon, and continued fighting. Humans have an incredible ability to ignore pain, Yejin said. Their bodies produce chemicals during combat that reduce pain and increase strength. They call it adrenaline. It lets them fight even with terrible injuries. Taeyang brought up another file. There is also something called pack bonding. Humans form emotional connections with other beings, very strong connections. When humans consider someone part of their pack, they will protect that person with their life. They have been known to fight impossible odds to save friends. They do not abandon their own. And pack bonding does not just happen with other humans, he continued. Humans bond with other species too. They keep animals as companions. They treat machines as friends. There are stories of humans risking death to save creatures they only met minutes before. If we attack human colonists, they will fight us with everything they have. Not because of orders or money, but because they consider each other family. Daewon looked around the room. He saw fear on faces that never showed fear. Good. They needed to understand. So let me be clear about what this contract means. We would be attacking 300 Deathworlders who have survival instincts built over millions of years of evolution. They can run longer than us. They can endure more pain than us. They can fight for days without rest, and they will fight to protect their families with every bit of strength they have. We might win eventually. We have superior weapons and more soldiers, but how many of us would die? Half more? And for what, money? He let the question hang in the air. Then he spoke again, his voice firm. I am recommending that we reject this contract. 50 million credits is worthless if we are dead. Does anyone disagree? The hall remained silent. Not a single mercenary raised their hand. Not a single voice spoke up. They had all seen enough. Finally, Heejin stood up. Commander, I speak for everyone here. Some money is not worth dying for. We reject the contract, Daewon nodded. Then it is decided. I will inform the ambassador that the Crimson Fang will not take this job. He paused and looked at his crew one more time. And I suggest we spread the word to other mercenary companies. They need to know what we know. No one should fight humans without understanding what they are facing. As the meeting ended and the mercenaries filed out, they all glanced back at the screen one more time. Earth still rotated there, beautiful and blue and green. But now they knew the truth. That peaceful-looking planet was a nightmare world. And the species that survived there was the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. Ambassador Kelva stood in her private office, staring at her communication device in disbelief. The screen showed a simple message from Commander Daewon: contract rejected. She had expected negotiation, perhaps a request for more money. But not an outright rejection. The Crimson Fang had never rejected a contract before. She sat down at her desk and opened her contact list. If the Crimson Fang would not take the job, she would find someone who would. The galaxy was full of mercenaries. Surely one of them would accept 50 million credits. Her first call was to the Blood Reapers. They were famous for their brutality. 5 years ago, they had fought a small war against 3 different species at the same time and won. Their commander, a massive Throgian named Krell, appeared on her screen. Ambassador, Krell said with his deep voice, what can the Blood Reapers do for the Council? Kelva explained the situation quickly. 300 human colonists on a protected world. We need them removed. 50 million credits. Krell's face changed immediately. His eyes grew wide and his mouth opened slightly. Did you say humans? Yes, is that a problem? Ambassador, with all respect, the Blood Reapers will not accept this contract. Not for any amount of money. The screen went dark before Kelva could respond. She sat back in her chair, confused. What was happening? She called the Eclipse Syndicate next. They were known for taking impossible jobs. Their reputation was built on accepting contracts that everyone else refused. The Eclipse commander was a Zalarian named Vex 9. His blue holographic form appeared above her desk. Ambassador Kelva, I heard you might call. You heard? How? Word travels fast in the mercenary community. You want someone to fight humans. The answer is no. We will not even consider it. Vex 9 disconnected. Kelva felt frustration building in her chest. She made call after call. The Void Hunters. The Starbreakers. The Iron Covenant. The Shadow Legion. Every single mercenary company gave her the same answer. No. Some just said the word and disconnected. Others explained briefly that they did not fight Deathworlders. But all of them refused. The Void Hunters had been particularly blunt. They had sent a written response, a single word in large red letters, no, nothing else. No explanation. No discussion. Just no. After the 20th rejection, Kelva finally called Commander Daewon back. His scaled face appeared on her screen. He did not look surprised to hear from her. Ambassador, he said calmly, I assume you have called other companies. Yes, she admitted. And they all rejected the contract too. Why? What is so special about humans that the bravest warriors in the galaxy are afraid of them? Daewon was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke carefully. Ambassador, have you researched humans yourself? Have you looked at their homeworld? I know they come from Earth. I know it is classified as a death world. But there are other species from dangerous planets. Why are humans different? Earth is not just a death world, Daewon said. It is a Class 12 death world. The highest rating. Everything on that planet is designed to kill. The weather, the animals, the plants, even the smallest creatures. Humans survived by becoming the most dangerous thing on their world. They are persistence hunters who can track prey for days. They can survive injuries that would kill most species. They form pack bonds that make them fight harder for each other than any soldier fights for money. They are also just colonists, Kelva argued. Farmers and families, not soldiers. Every human is a potential soldier, Daewon replied. Their evolution made them that way. Ambassador, I strongly advise the Council to negotiate with these colonists. Find a diplomatic solution. Do not attack them. Kelva felt anger rising now. The Council does not negotiate with lawbreakers. These humans settled on a protected world without permission. They must be removed. Then you will need to use your own military, Day One said. No mercenary company will help you with this. We share information, Ambassador. All of us know about humans now. This has become common knowledge. Fighting Deathworlders is not worth any amount of money. The call ended. Kelva sat in her dark office thinking. The mercenary commanders were spreading information about humans. They were warning each other. They thought they were being smart and careful. But to her it seemed like cowardice. How could the fiercest warriors in the galaxy be afraid of 300 farmers? She sent a report to the council leadership on Central Prime. In her report she explained that all mercenary companies had refused the contract. She recommended using council military forces to handle the situation. The response came back within an hour. The council agreed. They would send a military fleet to remove the human colonists by force. Back on the Iron Ring, Commander Day One received a message from the Blood Reapers commander, Krell. It was a simple thank you note. Krell wrote that he appreciated Day One warning other mercenary companies about the human contract. Other commanders sent similar messages. The Eclipse Syndicate, the Void Hunters. Even smaller companies sent their thanks. Jinho walked into Day One's office and saw him reading the messages. The mercenary community is grateful, Jinho observed. We may have made a lot of friends today. Yes, Day One agreed. But I am worried about the council. I received word that they are sending their military fleet to the human colony. 50 warships and 5,000 soldiers. That should be enough to handle 300 colonists, Jinho said. But he did not sound convinced. Should be, Day One repeated. But I have a bad feeling about this. Hye-jin entered the office then, carrying a data pad. Commander, you need to see this. The news networks are reporting on the council's decision. They are calling it Operation Peaceful Removal. They expect it to be finished in 1 day. Day One activated his communication device one more time. He called Ambassador Kelva directly. She appeared on screen looking tired but determined. Commander Day One, she said coldly, I have nothing more to discuss with mercenaries. Ambassador, please listen to me one more time, Day One said. His voice was serious and urgent. You are making a terrible mistake. Your soldiers are not prepared for what they will face. Humans are not like other species. They will not surrender easily. They will fight with everything they have. Many of your soldiers will die. Kelva's face hardened. You mercenaries may be cowards, but the council military is not. We have superior weapons, superior armor, and superior numbers. 300 farmers cannot defeat 5,000 trained soldiers. Your warnings are based on fear and stories. We deal with facts. The Krathos thought the same thing, Day One said quietly. They also had superior weapons and numbers. They lost. The Krathos underestimated their enemy, Kelva replied. We will not make that mistake. We know exactly what we are facing. Goodbye, Commander. The screen went dark. Day One sat back in his chair. He felt helpless. He had tried to warn them. All the mercenary commanders had tried to warn them. But the council would not listen. They thought mercenaries were just being afraid. They did not understand that sometimes wisdom looks like fear. What happens now? Tae-yang asked. He had been standing quietly in the doorway. Now we watch, Day One said. And we wait to see if the council learns the same lesson we learned. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is not the one with the biggest weapons. It is the one who refuses to give up. 3 days later, the council military fleet arrived at Kepler 442b. The operation was broadcast across the galaxy. News networks sent camera drones to record the peaceful removal of illegal colonists. The council wanted everyone to see their power and authority. On the Iron Ring, the entire crew of the Crimson Fang gathered in the common area to watch. The large screens showed the council warships taking position in orbit around the beautiful green and blue planet. Dropships began descending toward the surface, carrying thousands of soldiers in their armored shells. Day One watched in silence. Next to him, Jinho whispered, They look so confident. Yes, Day One agreed. They do not know yet, but they will learn. The screens showed the dropships landing near the human colony. Soldiers poured out, weapons ready, moving in perfect formation. The galaxy watched and waited. And down on the surface of Kepler 442b, 300 humans watched too. They were farmers and families, yes, but they were also children of Earth, and they were ready to defend their home. The human colony on Kepler 442b looked peaceful from orbit. Small buildings surrounded by farms and gardens, children playing in open spaces. It looked exactly like what it was, a settlement of families trying to build a new life. The Council Fleet Commander, General Thex, watched the scene on his main screen and felt confident. This would be over quickly. "Open a communication channel to the colony," he ordered. His voice was calm and professional. He had done this kind of operation many times before. Illegal settlers always surrendered when they saw overwhelming force. A human woman appeared on the screen. She had dark hair tied back and calm brown eyes. She wore simple clothes covered in dirt from working in the fields. "This is Bora, colony leader. Can I help you?" General Thex straightened in his command chair. "I am General Thex of the Galactic Council Defense Force. This planet is protected by council law. Your settlement is illegal. You have 1 hour to gather your people and prepare for evacuation. We will provide transport back to human space." Bora tilted her head slightly. "General, with respect, we filed all proper settlement applications. We followed every procedure. The council lost our paperwork. That is not our fault." "That is a matter for the courts," Thex replied. "Right now you need to leave. I have 50 warships and 5,000 soldiers. Please do not make this difficult." Bora was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had made a hard decision. "General, we spent everything we had to come here. We built these homes with our own hands. We planted these crops. This is our home now. We are not leaving. Ma'am, I do not want to use force, but I will if I must." "Then you will have to," Bora said calmly. "But know this, we will defend our home. We have 300 people here. Men, women, and children. We are not soldiers, but we are humans. And humans do not abandon their families." The screen went dark. General Thex felt a small moment of doubt. The way she said humans, it sounded like a warning. But he pushed the feeling away. He had his orders. "Begin the assault. Non-lethal force only. We are removing settlers, not waging war." The dropships landed in 3 waves. 1,500 soldiers in the first wave, wearing full combat armor and carrying stun weapons. They expected resistance, but they expected it to be brief. They moved toward the colony in organized formations, professional and efficient. The ambush came from nowhere. Humans had hidden themselves perfectly in the terrain. They used the gardens, the buildings, even the shadows to stay invisible until the last second. Then they attacked. The council soldiers had stun weapons. The humans had hunting rifles and homemade explosives. The difference was immediately clear. Council soldiers fell, their armor protecting them from most shots, but the impacts were still stunning. The humans moved like ghosts, firing and then disappearing before return fire could hit them. General Thex watched the helmet camera feeds in growing concern. What is happening down there? Where did they learn to fight like this? His tactical officer checked the data. "Sir, many of these colonists have military backgrounds. Veterans from the Krathos conflict. But even the ones without training are fighting effectively. They are using persistence tactics. Hit and run. Ambush and retreat. Send in the second wave," Thex ordered, "and authorization for lethal force if necessary. These are not peaceful farmers. They are combatants. 3,000 soldiers were on the ground now. They should have been overwhelming. But the humans were everywhere and nowhere. They set traps that destroyed armored vehicles. They used the terrain perfectly, turning every hill and building into a fighting position, and they never stopped moving." On the Iron Ring station, Commander Daywan and his crew watched the live news feeds in grim silence. The battle was being broadcast across the galaxy. Camera drones captured everything. Council soldiers falling, vehicles exploding, and always somewhere in the footage you could see a human fighter, running, shooting, fighting. "Look at their stamina," Hyojin said quietly. "The council soldiers are slowing down. They have been fighting for 6 hours, but the humans are still moving at full speed. They are taking shifts," Tae-Yang observed. "Some humans are fighting while others rest. But there are always humans in the fight. The council soldiers have no time to recover." Jin-Ho pointed at one screen. "There, that human took a plasma blast to the leg. See, he is still fighting. He tied something around the wound and kept going." The battle continued into the night. The council had lights and night vision equipment, but the humans seemed comfortable in the darkness. They moved silently, attacking from shadows, disappearing before the soldiers could respond. Council casualties climbed steadily. One news feed showed something remarkable. A group of human children were being evacuated to caves in the mountains. They moved quickly and quietly, led by a few adults. The children did not cry or panic. They had practiced this. Even the youngest ones knew what to do. They are protecting the children first, Daewon said, while the adults hold the line. This is pack bonding. They will fight harder now, knowing their children are safe. By dawn of the second day, General Thex's confidence was gone. He had lost over 1,000 soldiers, killed or wounded. His forces were exhausted from fighting all night while the humans rotated shifts. And the humans showed no signs of surrendering. "Sir, we need to withdraw and regroup," his tactical officer said. "The soldiers are at their limit." "No," Thex said stubbornly. "We have them outnumbered. We just need one more push. Send in all reserves. Full assault." The third day of fighting was the worst. 5,000 soldiers against 300 humans. But the numbers did not matter as much as everyone thought they would. The humans had turned the entire colony into a killing ground. Every building was a fortress. Every field was a trap. Every tree could hide a shooter. One helmet camera feed showed a human woman fighting with a broken arm. She held her rifle one-handed, using her body to brace it against a wall. She was still firing accurately, still hitting targets. When she ran out of ammunition, she picked up rocks and threw them. One rock hit a soldier's helmet so hard it cracked the visor. Another feed showed an older human man, probably in his 60s, moving through the battlefield like a shadow. He was not strong or fast anymore, but he knew exactly where to be and when to strike. He took out 5 soldiers before anyone even saw him. General Thex finally received the casualty reports. 70% of his force was killed or wounded. 70%. And how many humans had they killed? 12. Just 12. He looked at the numbers again, unable to believe them. 5,000 soldiers, the best weapons in the galaxy. Orbital support, everything, and 300 farmers had defeated them. "Order a retreat," he said quietly. "Get our people off that planet, sir." The tactical officer looked shocked. "You heard me, retreat now before we lose everyone." The Council forces withdrew. The dropships took the surviving soldiers back to orbit, leaving behind equipment and wounded that they could not recover. The retreat was chaotic and desperate, not at all like the confident arrival 3 days before. On the surface, the humans did not chase them. They helped their wounded. They counted their dead, 12 people, 12 friends and family members who would never see another sunrise. Bora stood in the center of the colony looking at the destruction and allowed herself to cry. Victory did not feel good. It felt sad and heavy, but they had defended their home. They had survived. Across the galaxy, everyone had watched the battle. The news networks had shown everything. Now the footage was spreading through every communication network. Everyone saw the same thing. The mighty Galactic Council military defeated by 300 human colonists. On the Iron Ring, the Crimson Fang crew sat in stunned silence. They had known humans were dangerous. They had done the research. But seeing it happen was different. The persistence, the tactics, the refusal to give up even when injured or outnumbered. It was exactly as terrifying as they had imagined. "We made the right choice," Jinho said finally. "Yes," Daewon agreed. "We did, and now the whole galaxy knows why." Heejin pulled up a news feed on her datapad. "The mercenary networks are going crazy with messages. Everyone is talking about this. They are calling it the Battle of Kepler 442b, and they are saying what we have been saying. Never fight humans, no matter how much money they offer. Never fight Deathworlders." The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in the organization's history. Representatives from 300 different species filled the grand chamber on Central Prime. Every seat was occupied. Every eye was focused on the central platform where Ambassador Kelva stood, looking small and tired. "The operation failed," she said quietly. Her voice echoed through the silent chamber. "We lost 3,500 soldiers, killed or seriously wounded. The human colonists suffered 12 casualties. They have refused to leave Kepler 442b. The chamber erupted in noise. Representatives shouted questions. Some demanded to know how this was possible. Others called for another attack with more soldiers. A few, the wiser ones, stayed silent and thoughtful. The council speaker raised her hand for silence. She was an old Valteran, respected and experienced. "We have seen the footage. All of us watched the battle. The question now is, what do we do next?" A representative from the core collective stood up. "We negotiate. We should have negotiated from the beginning. These humans claim they filed proper settlement applications. Let us review their claim. If they followed procedures, let them stay. That sets a dangerous precedent, another representative argued. If we allow illegal settlement just because someone fights back, then others will try the same thing. The core representative shook his head. You miss the point. This is not about setting precedent. This is about the fact that we attacked people who were following the law. They filed applications. We lost the paperwork. That is our mistake, not theirs. And then we attacked them for our error. The speaker nodded slowly. The core representative makes a fair point. Ambassador Kelva, did you review the human settlement applications before recommending military action? Kelva's blue skin became darker, a sign of shame in her species. No, Speaker. I assumed they were lying. I did not check the records thoroughly. Then check them now, the Speaker ordered. If the humans followed proper procedure, we will grant them legal settlement rights. If they did not, we will negotiate compensation for their departure. But we will not attack them again. Does everyone agree? The vote was nearly unanimous. Only a few representatives voted to continue military action, and they were ignored. The council had learned a hard lesson. Some fights were not worth fighting, especially when you were in the wrong. 3 days later, Ambassador Kelva traveled to the Iron Ring station. She requested a private meeting with Commander Daewon. He agreed, though he was surprised by the visit. They met in his office, just the two of them. Kelva looked different. The confidence and authority were gone. She looked tired and humbled. Commander Daewon, she began, I came here to apologize. You warned me. You told me attacking humans was a mistake, but I did not listen. I thought you were being cowardly. I was wrong. Daewon gestured for her to sit. Ambassador, wisdom often looks like cowardice to those who do not understand. The mercenary community learned about humans through research and shared knowledge. We knew what would happen if someone attacked them. Not because we are better warriors than your soldiers, but because we asked the right questions first. I should have asked those questions, Kelva admitted. I should have researched humans myself. Instead, I relied on assumptions. I thought farmers could not fight. I thought superior numbers would win easily. I was very, very wrong. Do you understand now why every mercenary company rejected your contract? Yes, she said quietly. Humans are not like other species. They come from a world that tried to kill them every day. They evolved to survive impossible odds. Fighting them is not about weapons or tactics. It is about will. And humans have more will than any species I have ever seen. They also fight differently, Daewon added. Most species fight for territory or resources or orders. Humans fight for each other. They form bonds with their companions that go beyond logic. They will die to protect their pack. That makes them extremely dangerous. Kelva nodded. The council has decided to grant the humans legal settlement rights. We reviewed their applications. They did follow proper procedures. The error was ours. We are also offering compensation to the families of the 12 humans who died defending their home. That is a wise decision, Daewon said, and it may lead to better relations between the council and humanity. I hope so. Kelva stood to leave. Thank you for your time, Commander, and thank you for trying to warn me, even though I did not listen. After she left, Daewon sat at his desk and opened his communication channels. Messages were flooding in from mercenary companies across the galaxy. They were all sharing the same information now. A new rule had emerged in the mercenary community, spreading from company to company like wildfire. Never accept a contract against humans. No matter how much money is offered. Never fight Deathworlders. The rule was being added to official mercenary guild regulations. It was being taught to new recruits. It was becoming common knowledge throughout the galaxy. The Battle of Kepler 442b had changed everything. 2 weeks after the battle, Daewon received an unexpected communication request. The source was Kepler 442b. It was from Bo-Ra, the human colony leader. He accepted the call, curious about what she wanted. Bo-Ra appeared on his screen. She still wore simple work clothes, but now she had bandages on her arms from the fighting. She smiled when she saw him. Commander Daewon, thank you for accepting my call. Colony leader Bo-Ra. Daewon replied with a respectful bow. How can I help you? I wanted to thank you, she said. Ambassador Kelva told me that you refused the contract to attack us. She said you warned her that attacking humans was a mistake. You tried to prevent the battle. I did what I thought was right, Day One said. I researched your species. I learned about your world. And I realized that fighting you would cost too many lives on both sides. You showed wisdom, Bora said. In human culture, we have great respect for wisdom. We honor those who know when to fight and when to seek peace. You chose peace when you could have chosen profit. That means something to us. Thank you, Day One replied, genuinely touched by her words. I am calling to offer friendship, Bora continued, between the humans of Kepler 442b and the mercenaries of the Crimson Fang. We would like to establish trade relations. We have agricultural products. You need food supplies for your station. We can help each other. Day One felt surprised. You want to trade with mercenaries? After everything that happened? We want to trade with wise mercenaries, Bora corrected. You could have attacked us. The money was very tempting. But you researched us first. You made an informed decision. That shows character. Humans respect character more than almost anything else. Also, she added with a small smile, humans believe in pack bonding. We form connections with those who show us respect and wisdom. You showed both. So now we want you in our pack, as friends and trading partners. Day One found himself smiling too. I would be honored to accept your friendship. And yes, we would very much like to establish trade relations. They spent the next hour discussing trade agreements and partnership terms. By the end of the call, the Crimson Fang had gained not just a supplier but allies. Real allies. The kind who would remember this friendship. When the call ended, Day One sat back in his chair and thought about everything that had happened. The contract that could have destroyed his company. The research that saved them. The battle that proved they were right. And now friendship with humans. Jin-Ho entered the office carrying 2 cups of warm drink. He handed one to Day One and sat down. I heard you made friends with the humans. Yes, Day One confirmed. They respect wisdom and restraint. They honor those who choose peace over profit. That is interesting, Jin-Ho said thoughtfully. The most dangerous species in the galaxy values peace. Maybe that is why they are so dangerous, Day One replied. They know the cost of violence. They have seen what war does. They evolved on a world where death was always close, so they understand the value of life better than species from gentle worlds. The galaxy is learning that lesson now, Jin-Ho observed. Humans are not monsters. They are survivors, and survivors understand things that others do not. Day One nodded and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there on a green and blue planet, 300 humans were rebuilding their colony. They were healing their wounded, mourning their dead and planting new crops. They were doing what humans had always done, surviving, adapting, and building something better. And across the galaxy, mercenary companies were updating their regulations. Trading guilds were reaching out to human colonies. Diplomats were reconsidering their approaches to humanity. The Battle of Kepler 442b had changed the galaxy's view of humans forever. They were no longer seen as primitive newcomers to galactic civilization. They were recognized for what they truly were. Children of a death world who had learned to turn their environment's cruelty into strength. A species that valued both peace and the ability to defend it, dangerous when threatened, but loyal and honorable when treated with respect. The most feared mercenary commander in known space had made the right choice. Not the profitable choice, not the easy choice, but the wise choice. And wisdom, as Day One had learned, was worth more than any amount of money because